The OWCS Stage 3 Main Event Grand Finals NA Edition are coming up next, and we're here and ready to break it all down for you. Zoe, joined by Jake and Johnny, and Toronto Defiant will be facing off against NRG Shock again. The team that knocked them down to the lower bracket showed us some cracks in the armor of what previously looked like the undefeated, unbeatable Toronto Defiant. Now, they've shown some vulnerability in this main event, which ought to make this a good one. We've always joked about how the NA region is just a little more boring because there was no competition. That has changed.
No question. I mean, it's so hard to stay on top the way Toronto have for months now with such a massive target being painted on their back. You know, the more you win, the more every other team, every other player is gunning for you. But it's awesome to see that, you know, those labors have paid off now. We got two very serious contenders that have, I mean, NRG upset Toronto Defiant. Nightmare brought them to the very brink of potentially being not a participant in the grand finals, which I think no one would have predicted. So really exciting for the NA region to see so many exciting young players popping off, taking it to Toronto. But Toronto are still a terrifying opponent. You can't take that away from them.
Yeah, just because you won once, that doesn't mean you get to do it twice, I guess. Johnny, you went back to rewatch that match and you found some key moments which highlight some of the new additions from NRG Shock and what an impact they had in their victory against Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, we haven't really had the chance to talk that much about Kellan and Ultraviolet so far, so I wanted to highlight what they did in what I think was the comeback match of the year with the reverse sweep. I'm trying to set it up, Zoe.
You can talk and walk. Come on,
so
man.
They're trying to like usher me on because I'm gonna be honest, chat. This is the longest analytical segment of the entire week, so get your hot bevy, get your blanket, and strap yourself in. I'm trying to buy time for the players to rest, go outside, do their thing, you know? But, you know, I kind of like this. So this is map 5, and we're going to see Toronto Defiant. They're playing their Brig on a composition again. And NRG, they're going to step up the tempo. They're going to play Lucio and Kiriko with the Sojourn. So you can see coming out of spawn, Kellan is already taking forward positioning on this little porch right here. And you can see how Tree and Scissors, they're in great position here, already spamming on the back line. And someone sees this, he's like, guys, we have to get rid of Kellan from this porch to gain some positioning because we want to walk up to this platform so we have sight angles towards the point. But this takes so much time. We can play this one out so we can get going with this damn thing. And we'll see that they actually, Sugar-Free, blinks over and finally takes care of Kellan so they can start walking up. By this point, NRG Shock, they already have the point control. And from our here, honestly, this entire point 1, there is just no bite from Toronto Defiant. And this is what we've seen from them in the previous series against Nightmare 2. They struggle to generate any kind of momentum with this composition if they don't already have positioning. When they don't have positioning with this comp, we can't see Sugar-Free get, you know, an upper hand in the Tracer duel. A Nano comes in from someone. It's an easy disengage, and we're gonna re-engage with the Kitsune Rush, and then we'll just cap the first point here we're seeing from NRG Shock. Oh, that's very funny production. And so this is my big question for the finals. It's like, are you going to win these Tracer duels? Are you going to follow up on RuPaul's Biotic Grenades? And are you going to have Sugar-Free and someone pair up when you don't have positioning and get some of these dives going? Great here by Ultraviolet, closing things out with a Kitsune Rush. And now we head over to point 2. I just want to pause real quick here as well. I want to highlight that they want to get off this competition. So now they're in like an awkward position when they have Brig and the Kiriko can keep playing it. We're going to see a great Primal Rage coming from Kellan here because there's no Biotic Grenade, there's no Sleep Dart. And the rally comes out, and he's just going to have an absolute field day. And this is how they get control on the first or the second point here on Suravasa. And there's just, oh my, I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. This is art. I know I'm not tank biased, but like, this is just beautiful. Causes so much chaos, and they end up winning this fight here. Now, to close out this second point, it is going to be Kellan once again. Pause. I just want to, you know, let's play a little game here. Which backline do you think will build support ultimates first? Do you think it will be NRG Shock, or do you think it will be Toronto Defiant? Place your bets now. It is not what you think it is. Let's play this one out, and we'll see how Kellan actually takes control of the point here. And Vega and RuPaul, there is no healing done. There is no damage done. They are not building these ultimates. So by the time that Vega builds the sound barrier, RuPaul is under pressure from Kellan. This is just a great distraction from him. Follows up on RuPaul here. RuPaul finally builds the Kitsune Rush, but it's too late. He's already down and counting, and is not going to be used. And NRG Shock, they close out, get point 2 here. I want to show it from Ultraviolet's angle as well here. here, peeling here successfully for 3. Susan come out, teleport, someone primals here, and look how he avoids the primal rage Winston. Dodges once, dodges twice, teleports, dodges one more additional time here, and someone on the Winston's like, I gotta kill this Kiriko. Here he comes. Let's juke one more time. Up onto the rooftop we go. Someone waiting for leap cooldown. Now someone is on the roof. Someone is on the roof. Can't find the Kiriko. And the Kiriko survives long enough. Great dodge here by Ultraviolet. Finally built this Kitsune Rush. And that's how they clutch out point B here on Suravasa. Just being able to stay alive that long against someone's Winston, who is one of the best Winstons in the region, that is just amazing from Ultraviolet. Now, you need a little bit of luck as well. That's all I'll say. Sugar-free. Going to have a bad time in just a few seconds here. I even built in this slow-mo. I'm so proud. Boom, boom. 5 versus 4. That's right, Joss. Boom. Sound barrier comes in from Toronto Defiant. 4 versus 5. They're not able to win the fight. 4 versus 5. And now you're one fight away from closing out Suravasa here. Just great stuff. And now Kellan again. Forward positioning, making it difficult for Toronto Defiant to get to the point. Someone is like, I'm so tired of this damn Winston in my region. Well, good luck, someone. You finally have some competition here. Here we go. Last fight territory. Put some pressure on the Sojourn. Dives comes in from Sisters as well. Primal Rage activated. Isolate the Sojourn. And that's how you go up one member in the last fight of Suravasa. 5 versus 4 situation. No one on Toronto Defiant is able to get to the point. Great play by Kellan. Great play by Ultraviolet. And there we go. I am finished. No more of these segments for the rest of the day, for the rest of the weekend. It's been a blast. Over to you guys.
W segment, Johnny.
I loved every second of it. I had to just take a moment to take it all in.
Yeah.
It was a longer one. But honestly, though, that series was so entertaining that I feel like you could have just wrapped up the whole, like all the maps as a highlight reel.
I will say I am more convinced than ever about Johnny's Ultraviolet MVP nomination. I was in fact watching, and that was some nasty juking on the Kiriko. That is so against a team like Toronto. So good on the dive. I mean, someone has torn apart some of the best players in the world with these Winston Tracer comps. And UV, I think maybe the hottest prospect out of NA.
Bro was
on flex support. Super exciting. And on the Kyrie, I think he's really able to shine, especially the hero. More squishy now, more vulnerable. But if you got this level of jukes, you can actually do more damage, be more threatening than she was last patch.
Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, obviously a fantastic really breakdown of how they got it done. Now the big question is, of course, can they do it again? Or will Toronto rock up with something different? We saw a lot of mirror match being played in that very match, and that is what I felt like made it so impressive that the NRG Shock roster actually took down Toronto, because I feel like against a roster like that, which was so untouched, a lot of teams were overcooking. They felt like, oh, we gotta reinvent the wheel, we gotta, do something really crazy, like throw in cheese comes to break them down, but not NRG Shock. They came in with like some good, honest Overwatch.
Yeah, and honest Overwatch, and also very different styles, right? When Attack came in, playing these flex support styles, and Cal as well, right? Cal and the Iliari, even though the hero's been nerfed, does a little bit less damage. It didn't look like that from Cal's POV, who was putting out huge damage, being a huge threat. And typically, it was Toronto Defiant, right, that played these double flex styles and looked like the team that was innovating the meta. But they were caught off guard, frankly, by some of those swaps. So you got to give it to NRG. To put Toronto on their heels is really impressive. But can you finish them off? I mean, it's not done yet. We still have to play the grand finals, and Toronto is not known for being a team that's easy to beat twice.
They really are not. They're known for talking the talk and then walking the walk, though. Let's see if the coaches from both of these teams have something good to say ahead of their match. So let's bring them in on our big screen. We'll have a quick chat before we're heading into this series. Gentlemen, welcome, and of course, congratulations. You both made it to the grand final. Starting with you, Kasaurus. Probably that was not the way you wanted it to go, though. You had to fight back up from the lower bracket. Was the team and you faced at all by that fact?
Look, we're just trying to get the max amount of maps here. Map 5 yesterday against NRG, they clutch it up. Today, map 5 against Nightmare, we clutch it up. Sometimes you toss the coin and it lands heads, and luckily we were able to be untouchable there on the final map. I think we made some really good adaptations, and we're looking to bring it here to NRG. Hopefully no more map 5, hopefully a map 7.
Yeah, wait, I'm curious, how do you respond to that? I mean, that was pretty convincing, or no, I don't want to say too convincing, because it did go to map 5, but it felt like you were in control, especially on that Suravasa. And Cal as well. Like, are you just going to shut them down the same way like you did yesterday?
I think they can hope for a map 7, but I'm hoping for us it's not that long of a series.
All right, locked in, looking to get it done. You know, I'm curious, like with all these roster changes, with NRG, you guys, you know, rebuilding the team, but looking stronger than ever. How has it been integrating these new guys into the squad, whether it was Tree and UV from the former M80 squad to now Kellen and Attack being on the team? How has that been with all these new players, fresh faces coming into the team?
I think once I got all these new guys, I made it like my goal like right away to make sure everyone had a role on the team and like make sure there's like a strong identity with like the lineup, like the 2 lineups of guys, like the 3-man sub out. So I think we've done that pretty good so far.
I got one more question, Zoe. I got one more question.
Throw it in. Go.
So you got fuller held on Shambali Monastery yesterday, and then you lost Blizzard World against Cal's Ilari. Do you have a plan for Cal? Are you worried about Cal on the Ilari at all?
You know, we've checked out the routes, and today I'm not worried. And to Weetz's point, he's looking for a quick series, so then we'll just give him a 4-0.
Hey-oh. You ask and you shall receive. Let's see if it will come true or not. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck in the grand finals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Always great to hear it from the coaches themselves. I'm very interested to see what both of these teams have cooked up, especially because we got to see them already play against one another just yesterday. That's not a long turnaround. It's not a lot of time. What do you think the NRG Shock squad took away from this match Toronto just played?
Well, I think Toronto did show a ton of strength on their Brig Ana comps, but that's not something NRG Shock is scared to match. And even the double flex support, I think, can make it much harder to make those Brig styles work. We'll see, though. I think it's not going to be, for me, so much about, you know, the comp matchup. I really want to see, like, just the aggression out of NRG Shock, that they're not scared to take it to Toronto. I mean, Toronto has shown weakness, frankly, and I think you've got to pounce on that if you're NRG. You're the ones waiting in the upper bracket.
Yeah, for Toronto Defiant, as much as we joked about my previous breakdown, I really do feel like Toronto Defiant, when they don't have positioning, they struggle to gain momentum with that Brig Ana Ash composition. It is why they got fuller held on Dorado, because they couldn't find those opening picks or go aggressively. And it is why they also lost Busan Sanctuary, which is another round that Nightmare play this Sojourn, Lucio, Kiriko. When you play those up-tempo compositions and Toronto Defiant doesn't have space already, they have struggled a little bit. So NRG Shock, if they come back and they play more Sojourn, Lucio, Kiriko, that could be a good look for them to prevent Toronto Defiant from playing their game.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, they're known to be a team that downloads the opponents. They don't need a long turnaround to actually turn it around. I gave the edge to them, although I did feel like I made that pred kind of before the previous match in my head. So I'm like, they looked very vulnerable. I still stick with it. I think Toronto Defiant just have too much skill on the individual roles. I just still feel like they are one tier above the rest, even though it may have looked a little shaky these past 2 days.
You know, as much as I talk about Money Merritt, you know, Merritt with his back against the wall in the playoffs, I went with NRG Shock.
He's going to call you out on this.
I feel like there's a bit of an aura, Gav. I know he might. I'm sorry, Merritt, but I had to do it because it's not just Merritt in the server, it's a full team game, and that's why I give the edge to NRG Shock. I think this is a team that has come together on relatively short notice, but trusts each other, but is willing to, you know, every player, we've talked about this, the players having roles, doing these big sub-outs, that takes trust, that takes cooperation and coordination across a big roster, and I think they've done impressively well to bring that together, and they have very different styles that could make it hard for Toronto to adapt throughout the long series, and maybe just the aura from players like BGE, Tree, and UV that just makes me believe. I want to see NRG Shock take this.
This is shades of you predicting against Houston Outlaws and Violet last year.
Actually.
The Overwatch League, yeah. And you had to come crawling back and apologize to Violet in the interview for that. I went with Toronto Defiant. Look, I know NRG Shock beat them in the upper bracket, but we've seen this before. Toronto Defiant comes back in the grand finals. I am rooting for maximum amount of maps. Give us a 4-3. Maximum Overwatch, and then we can call it an event.
And only then can we call
maximum
it an event.
Overwatch.
Maximum. I'm very interested to see where the community goes with this one. Oh,
okay.
It's all those PG voters.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. NRG Shock is just a really fun team to watch.
PG
There's
fans
so
rise
many,
up.
not just PG fans though, like it's the entire squad.
Yeah.
There's so much personality, and they've shown us a lot of versatility as well. For them to just straight up take it in an honorable mirror against the big dog, that requires some alpha energy.
Tree is Thanos. I'm just going to say
honestly.
it.
And like that, the match could be over. Let's see if they can get it done yet again in the grand final here in our NA region. Necro, Jack, are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
So
They've done it once.
Oh, so
Can they do it
ready.
again? That is the question. Jake obviously thinks so. Rose, the audience thinks so as well. You know, 55 to 45%, and everybody voting for PG as the tournament MVP as well.
I was gonna say there's so many players to love. You cannot forget Rack Attack. That's I think one of the more like popular players on the team. How can you not love that Catboy?
Yeah, cute Catboy energy coming from Rack Attack on the daily.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on in though. Busan, the first map chosen by Toronto Defiant here in the finals of Stage 3 OWCS in North America. NRG Shock beat them in the upper bracket finals. Reverse sweep on top of that as Toronto cowering, licking their wounds in the lower bracket and managed to beat out Nightmare not just a moment ago, it was about 10 minutes ago. So they're very warmed up for this one. But can they download the team? Have they downloaded the team? Because NRG Shock, they brought different looks. They've had Kalin for quite some time as well in that series previous, Rose, and the Alari went kind of crazy. But right now, they're starting with Rack, UV, Scissors, Tree, and Kellen as they open the gates.
Capture the objective.
We ended up seeing Toronto Defiant and NRG Shock play this out in the first map of their own series where Toronto did win, and it was off the back of the Solari and the Ana on Sanctuary, just looking so strong. But as you pay attention to how NRG Shock are coming out of the gates this time around, they are going to keep up with this Winston themselves, but it's going to just be a classic backline of Kiriko and Ana. Cal not in the roster this time around to play that Alari as we saw that last time.
Bodyguard someone. Should be paid overtime, I think. Vega stayed alive, and someone picks up a few kills there in that fight. It's Toronto. They end up coming to the point cap first.
Point capture for them, and almost a nano boost here for RuPaul as you look forward to the next matchup that we're going to have on this map. Could throw that over to someone if you want. I think that's going to be a great way to be able to chase down this backline. But as we have called out before, Ultraviolet is one of those players that can be a little bit tricky on the Kiriko. So not necessarily the best target you could go after.
They want Vega dead to rights right now. It's actually Tree that ends up falling over first. 30% and counting here for Toronto Defiant. Ooh, it's not looking close right now at the very least. Didn't even need to use that nano either. I mean, comparing the ultimate charge there from both sides. RuPaul getting that one on first. Let me run over to my spot. We're all good. We made it in time. Maybe I should just wheel the chair over. We are jumping into a brief pause. Apologies for that. Hopefully that'll be sorted in just a moment. Hopefully no more crashes either. We've had a few people's PC crashing over the last couple of days.
We've been plagued with PC crashes in North America lately.
It's all right. We'll get them out of the way.
Bad timing if that's the case.
And then we'll be a smooth sailing finals after this one. Apparently it's a microphone issue. There you go. That's what I'm hearing right now in my headset.
Okay.
So.
Well, no game crash means that we will not lose ultimate charge. We like that. We'll
plug it back in. There you go. You unplugged it, plug it back in. Works again. Tech tip number 1. And now you can be tech support for your entire family this holidays. Ultraviolet and Kellen going down. It's Toronto now.
Oh, that was such a late death. Yeah, like the chase out of the Kellen is fantastic, and I think shows that someone is really willing to try to play a little bit more aggressive on the Winston. And we saw him be a little bit more meek and feeble yesterday, definitely feeling himself after the series that they just had in order to send Nightmare home and find themselves back in the grand finals, as that's going to be a Primal Rage very soon here for someone into this next fight. The Nano Boost as well, just fantastic to keep this point going for Toronto as we enter into potentially last fight territory.
I mean, Tree just got dominated there. Now Rack Attack next on the menu. It's a buffet for someone right now with this Primal Rage. Watches Ultraviolet slip into the shadows, but quickly chased down with Merit dealing the final blow. Last fight here. Oh, and an nano boost onto Merit to make sure he stays alive. Scissors hoping maybe that would be the ultimate to turn this one.
Well, it's not going to be the case yet. Gonna have to try to come in with a rush, but Ultraviolet goes down before being able to use
Ultraviolet dead. Rose, that is just first round. Surely. Kellen uses the Primal Rage.
Yes,
I mean, he can get to the point, sure. Sound Barrier comes in for Rack. Kellen ends up taking a quick nap. It was a 2-man Sound Barrier. Ultraviolet too. He gets a nice teleport angle. Maybe there's a chance for Kellen to stay alive a minute longer, because this rush is available. Overclock's also going to get pulled. Nice anti-nade in the front line, though, and before Tree can find a kill, he's antied, killed, and, well, Bob joined the party just to say hello. That was...
Gotta have your cheerleader on the team. Bob can do that. No, that was not close. But we saw that yesterday when Toronto and NRG were on this same map. Toronto just having a very, very good handle of things. I mean, it was a quick 2-0 victory on Busan for them. Even looking at downtown, NRG Shock got absolutely shut out. They couldn't even touch the point. And so that's why maybe we see this change up in the roster for NRG Shock. They started with Cal yesterday to be able to play that double flex support with the Ilariana backline. But now you have Ultraviolet in instead, hoping maybe the Kiri would have been able to do a little bit of a difference there with the Winston dive. But now you're going to have to play this Baptiste on Mecha base. This was a round we didn't end up getting a chance to see both of these teams go to yesterday. So now we see the Diva look from someone and the Mauga from Kellen.
Vega's going to have a good time on the Solari. You just can't get rotated on. That is going to be the big problem. Oh, that bio nade from RuPaul. Whew. He's been quite feisty this this bracket, and he continues to impress. Unfortunately, he doesn't end up going down, but Toronto Defiant are kind of encapsulating NRG right now and just trying to pick people off as soon as they misstep. Tree under a lot of pressure. Someone almost with a solo kill. Bunny Blaster, maybe kill? Oh, Tree is so low. Someone's still alive. Melee him. Get his ass. He got him. Vega eventually helping someone kill Tree. The point has been capped, by the way, by Toronto Defiant. However, it's NRG Shock now putting on the pressure. Vega eventually falls on the dynamite. Scissors staring death in the face and takes a face full of fire.
Well, good point capture here for NRG Shock to try to get themselves on the board. Kellen is just absolutely mowing them down with the Mauga. Unfortunately, falls off the map.
I think
he overruns off the map.
A little reset there. Yeah, I don't imagine he did that on purpose. Well, he probably did that on purpose. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it wasn't an accident, but he goes back to actually switch off of the Mauga and go to the Winston. So a bit of a compositional switch up again to go back to what they ended up running on Sanctuary, knowing that we do see the Diva coming out from someone. The Winston can get a little bit of a better drop onto that backline and also get them into the fight maybe a little bit faster.
All right, then you're going to try and push out this high ground by the looks of it. Yeah, just to disrupt Vega's positioning. Very fast window, another good nades on Rack Attack this time around. Sugar Free is going to try and kill the Lucio, but Ultraviolet doing a good job of actually body blocking those pulse pistol shots. Kellen in some desperate need of attention right now as the healing grenades from Ultraviolet will end up getting slung towards his general direction. But with this ball being put on the point, or close to the point by Merit, it's going to be tough for them to push out. And to add insult to injury, a pulse pump kill onto Tree.
Well, that's going to have to be the sound barrier coming out from Rack Attack to try to get them back into this fight.
Nano boost onto Merit. Nice little try shot there onto Rack Attack. Doesn't end up killing the Lucio, but Merit's been able to stay alive for so long. Hey, you can put that nano boost on someone, but you know Merit's hitting every single shot. Sugar Free with 2 kills, and now Toronto Defiant on final fight. 85%, almost 90, as only now as Scissors and Kellen spawning. Rack's dead.
That's going to be an anti onto Rack Attack. They can't use the speed to get in here either.
He really is the goat of nades. RuPaul looking like Jaehong of old. As Vega continues to control this high ground. RuPaul playing super far back too. Scissors and Teed should be fine. I believe that was a small hit of the recall there. Someone's going to get desuited. Unfortunately, as overtime might just tick away before NRG Shock realise it. Kellen has got the Primal Rage, but they still need to touch. Captive Sun used. It actually hits the Winston. A little bit of detonation damage there, but Kellen's going to be able to shrug it off in the Primal Rage. Someone does end up going down in Pilot Diva form, and now is only Vega touching the points. I think RuPaul as well is going to fall, and that'll be the eventual flip there by NRG Shock, with only one ultimate available for this next fight.
You have to hope the overclock is going to be huge with Tree looking at letting that rip. And you can set up on the sidelines now too, knowing that NRG Shock does have control at this point. With a pretty late pick onto RuPaul, is going to delay Toronto Defiant coming back into this one for just a little bit. But not before RuPaul might even get this nano merit the bop once again. And so this overclock against the world, it feels like here for Shock on the defense.
I mean, if anybody can do it, it's definitely Tree.
For sure.
See where RuPaul's hanging out. Nano in hand. Might just give it to Merit again if Merit is under a little bit of pressure. Speaking of which, Kellen's going to pay them a brief visit as the point is now contested. Oh, Sugar Free going down to Scissors. They're still contesting the point, mind you, but Vega dead. Okay, reset for Toronto Defiant now. They're going to hit the S-key. Just get out of there. Hopefully suffer no more casualties. Actually, a bomb is going to get flung out from Merit, and that's going to force a beat from Shock. They're still going to push in here, but was that a worthy trade? I'm not sure it is.
Not too bad if you know that RuPaul only has the nano. That's the only ultimate left here for Toronto Defiant. So if you can, I mean, there's the pick.
All right, pick comes through. Ultraviolet kills RuPaul.
So now there's no nano.
Yeah, Vega's not close to the ult either. Good eat from someone denying that stick onto Vega. And Scissors going pretty low without a recall too. Vega using the outburst to jump away from the overclock. And now someone trying to eat as many railgun shots as possible. OT approaching now for NRG Shock because Vega ends up getting eliminated by Kellen. Overstaying is welcome on the high ground. Dana boost deployed onto someone as he chases down the front line. Tree does end up falling over to someone, but not before someone can secure these kills. It's Ultraviolet and Scissors in the kill feed. A self-destruct is going to help someone hit the remake here, but he might just get killed before he can actually get in it. Yeah, Kellen kills the pilot Diva. Toronto Defiant on their last leg says, oh, a DC on NRG Shock side. I mean, what, there's 1, 2, 3 players alive from Shock. They should be good. That should be their round. It looked like it was going that way.
That was Ultraviolet, though. That's unfortunate. Like, just one of the supports being such a pivotal piece of the puzzle. So sad.
We'll get all these out the way first.
We spoke too soon.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Only a headset issue? No.
Unfortunately not. We can't unplug this one and plug it back in. Just a quick disconnect there from UV. Should get back in just a moment. Fingers crossed. They are very close to winning this round, that being at NRG. So we should go to a downtown Busan, but we'll have to wait and see. Because now there's DC. It's like, I'm not sure where UV was as well. I know it was like half a second ago, but I can't remember where he was positioned. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see until we come back. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we are jumping into a brief pause.
If we do go to downtown, though, and we do see NRG Shock tie it up, then downtown is where they did get absolutely, like, slaughtered. They could not touch the point. Toronto has done this twice now to 2 different teams. Nightmare also on the receiving end of that, having to deal with the Ashe and the Winston dive. So, maybe they've learned a little something. Maybe it'll be a little different with the Kiriko Lucio backline instead or something.
Thinking about that, Rose, actually, someone's Winston on that downtown the other day was just absurd. Like solo carry potential there. All right, here it is. We're back in. Ultraviolet. He's in spawn. But Vega's dead and they got Primal Rage on the point. It'll be RuPaul getting back on the Lucio, but no, booped away. There you go. Okay, NRG Shock do end up securing the round, even though UV did DC. So we are going to go to downtown. It's our 3rd round here on Control.
I was just getting ahead of it. Yeah, it did look like NRG Shock would be able to secure the picks with the Primal Rage. Didn't need the Ana there, or Baptiste, or whatever. Ultraviolet, you're fine. Your team's got you. But now that we're over on downtown, here's where we really need to see NRG Shock step up to the plate. Toronto Defiant with this Ashe, this Winston comp, even this so survivable backline of Vega and RuPaul and the Brig Ana, we're unstoppable. 100-0 for Nightmare and 100-0 versus NRG Shock on this round just yesterday. So maybe Ultraviolet will be the key to success to make sure that that doesn't happen again. But Toronto looks so confident with this high ground presence, the Symmetra teleporter to get them up there.
Kellen already pretty low. A Shock go for a long journey, trying to wrap around onto Toronto Defiant, but is RuPaul and Vega, and Merit now chilling on this back line. Oh, that's a Suzu already used. RuPaul getting really close to his teammates there, making sure everybody's getting the biotic grenade, including himself. Asleep onto Tree, and that's a kill from Merit. Beautiful long-range sleep from RuPaul.
Okay, a little bit too late to save Merit there, but no big deal. Merit can come back into this and set back up on the defense while Toronto Defiant finish up the rest of this point. A little bit of a stagger there as Scissors tries to stall out the objective for just a little. Gonna have Pulse Bomb in this next fight, so even though ended up getting kind of taken down or at least bullied away from that backline after you ended up seeing such a big break bash come through, you still have this Pulse Bomb you can throw at that backline again. But here comes the absolute humongous defense from Toronto. Let's see if they can keep it up as they already start to approach 20%.
Well, they're going for the dive and tree, 20 HP as he takes to the skies and quickly dealt with his counter dive is wonderful stuff. And yeah, RuPaul with another sleep. 2 for 2 there on sleeps on DPS. Except the traitor too, of all things.
Fisher was big because you did have that Pulse Bomb thrown into the mix. Scissors with that really early charge up, but now Toronto get to keep this defense going with the Nano Boost from RuPaul and the Primal Rage from someone. NRG Shock still have very little to be able to throw with these fights while Toronto just keeps setting the pace. Someone with these super close holds, able to use these jumps just to go in and get that counter dive into the backline after Kellen tries to step up to the plate.
Oh, well, they got the rush, but look at the ultimates Toronto Fire messing with right now. Rush after the TP, and Merit got the Nano Boost again. But Vega's already dead. A good sleep from RuPaul. And can Merit finish off these kills? I think so. There's nothing standing in Merit's way. If there's not a DPS in the world, I think I wouldn't trust more than Merit on the hit scan to use that Nano Boost. Kellen's still managing to kill Merit, and Scissors picking up a kill on Sugarfree might result in this point getting flipped. But after this Primal Rage eventually gets away from them, that will be a rally from Vega just to secure and put them on final fight territory too. There's a lot of overhealth building here, and this front line's not looking too good. Although saying that, a little sound barrier will surge them forward into this backline. A sleep and a whip shot onto the Winston. Means that NRG Shock's push has been a little bit muted, and Sugarfree with a Pulse Bomb right at Tree's feet. And now times are ticking for NRG Shock, not much left in the bank. And they're going to get absolutely dominated on downtown. This is Toronto Defiant's map. And you can see exactly why Busan was the first selection. I mean, they played that just perfectly. Not a moment did they falter.
Perfect record on downtown again. Like, it's just 3 for 3 at this point with the Toronto Defiant shutting the door on this map in front of their opponents' faces. So I guess the silver lining of this is that NRG Shock get a chance to pick the next map, and I think every team having been taken to Busan probably expected to come up as an L.
I wonder if he's playing into the mental game though of Toronto. It's like, okay, we're edging towards match point. Let's not get match point. Let's just go one step below match point, and then we can't get reverse sweep, right? Surely?
Yeah.
Possible.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Anything's possible.
Clueless?
Toronto Defiant with a beautiful first map on Busan. I'm hoping for a 7-map series. I'm sure everybody else was at home as well. NRG Shock's chance to choose as we go into the next one. Here's some highlights from that game. And despite the 2 pauses as well, everybody's still playing in a peak form.
It's a little bit tougher for NRG Shock. You know, you come into this one with not as much just official match time, knowing that Toronto does have to play through that lower bracket match. It was such a close 5-map series. That's plenty of time to actually get warm and maybe work out some of the flaws that you noticed while playing through that match. So Toronto with just a fantastic display. Major credit, though, to NRG Shock on Mecha Base actually finding a way to get through this Diva comp. It looked like it was so doomed as you saw Toronto get from 0 to 99. And then a big pivot there from Kellen to go over to the Winston. Tree had a major pop-off performance there on the Sojourn as well. Not to the same effect on downtown, but what have you come to expect from Toronto at this point on this round? Disgusting. RuPaul is so good.
Championship winning honor. Amazing flex support, and yeah, the ability to pivot as well for NRG Shock. We'll see if that ends up coming into effect, because they've been doing it all tournament long, and it's something that really helped them succeed against Toronto Defiant in their upper bracket finals. Here are the map stats as well. Just throw those up on your screen for Busan. Yeah, 44 deaths to 29. Felt pretty one-sided, especially on that, you know, downtown. You'd expect Toronto having a much larger KDA and damage, etc. But there you go. Right, what do you think we're for NRG Shock, where are their heads at, Rose? Where do you think we're going to step into next? Knowing that you've got a few picks that you can go to that you won against Toronto yesterday to start their reverse sweep.
That's true. I look at Blizzard World as one of those where you had that monstrous performance by Cal on the Alari. They were getting stuck on their attack push on that second point before Cal came up big. A huge captive Sun totally opened up that second point, finished that point capture, and then got them into just a little bit of extra progress there on the third point, eventually winning at the map. I think that was really stellar and was kind of like that second step in that reverse sweep that we saw NRG Shock get. So I think you could be pretty safe to go to any of the maps you won there, Runaasapi, Blizzard World, or Suravasa, if you feel like you want to deal the maximum amount of mental damage.
The third form of damage, emotional/mental damage. It's perfect. I mean, look, if you're going to take him to a map where you won the other day, Runaasapi is the pick for NRG Shock. Okay, let's load on in. As Toronto now just trying to prove, like, hey, it was a fluke. There was nothing to see here. Nothing to see. We just had a small off day.
But this is where the reverse sweep started, because we ended up seeing that Tracer, Sombra, Winston come out from Shock. It forced Toronto to have to try to match that, which meant taking Merit off of the hit scan. Couldn't play the Ashe anymore. They just kind of opted in to have to play this Tracer Sombra mirror dive. So not a fantastic feeling maybe, but then you ended up seeing Toronto flip the script about that a little bit in just their previous match, so maybe they figured it out.
Hey, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Season 12 is live. You can go check it out in the live game after you've watched this, of course. Let's jump into Runaasapi, though. Yeah, that's just where the reverse sweep started. And if I had to pick a comp, I don't think it's going to be the Bastion comp, but I think the Sombra and the Tracer worked out exceptionally well. Their ability, and with the Sombra especially, half the time it's like, okay, do we just beat the Sombra EMP, or we just kind of miss time these ults? So, okay, we beat this fight, then we EMP next and just keep the snowball going, because that's how they ended up winning yesterday. We'll see if they can start a quick, not reverse sweep, but a quick streak of maps here with their first map choice being Runaasapi as we load on in.
Yeah, I mean, so not only did the reverse sweep start here, but you just saw Toronto take a loss on this map versus Nightmare. Even knowing that we would see Nightmare come out with like the Tracer, Sombra, Winston themselves, we saw Toronto instantly come out of the gates with the Cassidy, the Pharah, and the Mauga, and Nightmare were ready for it. So will we actually see Toronto learn from those mistakes? Knowing that they also lost to NRG Shock on this yesterday.
Yeah, Toronto, how are they going to pivot? Because you've got to be thinking that
it's coming. Like the server, the Tracer is probably coming.
Although right now they are hovering over Tree, Pharah. This is Tracer. Someone just on the Diva for the time being. Pretty decent against the Sombra, can be easy kind of chase down, but there it is. No Pharah for NRG. Just going to run the Sombra Tracer exactly like they did the other day.
And so Toronto, they're immediately going to start on the Diva. Last time, just a couple of hours ago, we saw the Mauga transition into the Diva, but it's just going to be the Ashe, Pharah, Diva, Lucio, Ana here from Toronto. So an opportunity to go get these dives if you can spot the opening with someone's Diva and an anti-nade from RuPaul. Not the same type of soak up, as Kellen doesn't have the Diva defense matrix. Opting for the Winston instead.
Oh yeah, Kellen is so low. That mega health pack as well.
So dead.
That was hacked too by Tree. Maybe not, maybe it was spent a little bit too long hacked. Maybe it became unhacked. Or it just wasn't spawning quick enough for Kellen to use it. So a quick fight for NRG Shock. Although someone does kill Ultraviolet. Bit of a scrappy one. Sugar Free staying alive. 80 HP carrying in this building right now. Wow, someone.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, you have a lot of great chase down targets if you're going to be on this Diva. Head after the Sombra. Even though you're going to lose out on the boosters, you still do a stupid amount of damage with that character. And then you can also just keep pressuring away at this Winston. Look at all the focus fire onto Kellen right now. He's forced to actually use these jumps to get away rather than engage. He doesn't have the bubbles anymore really at his disposal. So you have to be really careful. And as you pointed out before, even if you have the hacked health packs, you got the spam damage from the Pharah, the booster rockets from the Diva. It's a lot of damage.
Possible on the floor there from Scissors as Kellen has already bitten at the dust. Someone just runs them over with the thrusters. Yeah, it's really easy for RuPaul to play a little bit more aggressive here as well. We've got a fear, like you were mentioning, of Kellen's left click, but Scissors and Tree could just eat all that up if RuPaul wants to go for an aggressive peek with the nade. And they've got 4 ultimates for this next one too, and they're rounding this corner, this checkpoint in their sights.
Yeah, the thing about this Sombra is it's super all-in. If you don't have the EMP, it feels like you have to be able to win out with other things, but the Toronto Defiant squad has already beaten you to the punch.
What a barrage from Sugar Free, bathed in Matrix as well. Perfect team coordination there by Toronto Defiant, and they garner the checkpoint. Like I said, I'm sure they'd want everybody to know as well that Runaasapi and that series the other day was a small blip on the radar. Toronto have been the very top of North American Overwatch since the inception of OWCS, and they want to keep that going. Sound barrier comes through from Vega. RuPaul this whole time is pushing the point, but unfortunately, Rack Attack, oh dear. NRG shock, they lose a couple of ultimates in that fight. EMP, sound barrier, oh, they're gone. And this bot is moving to a team kill and maybe even 100 meters on the board for Toronto. They mean business today.
Surely looking like a blip in the system. This is not even close so far. Even Tree, having blown the EMP in that last fight so late, switching over to the Sojourn. You're throwing a Diva Bomb like the old Poco days over here.
Okay, well, a little ambitious, but they might be able to still get some kills. Oh, not with that Russian play, I don't think. But still, 110 meters. Looking very reminiscent of the game we saw previous. Quick team kill there as Tree now giving up the Sombra, going straight to the Sojourn instead. A bit more firepower in the front line.
Yeah, and if you know that we're gonna see this sugar-free Pharah, then you want to be able to have some type of hit scan pressure against it. Otherwise, this Pharah has had absolute free reign over you. No defense matrix here from Kellen's Winston. Kellen is also dead before being able to use the Primal. That is a big misstep, and Toronto are gonna capitalize on
We saw this a couple of times in this series previous. Kellen sometimes overstaying on the Winston. Quite a few times he did the caught out, punish in terms of positioning, or just like not like pop the primal.
That's something that we even saw from Kellen, though, in his Overwatch League days when he was on the New York Excelsior. I feel like that was the one thing we always used to call out. But unfortunately, doesn't seem like it's something that someone is going to let take lightly, as it's just another early commit here from Toronto. And now you see the Primal, but it feels so late.
Did manage to get 1 kill in merit, and Vega also ends up going down, but they gain 7 meters, that being a Toronto Defiant. Every little helps. 5 minutes to go, halfway through this map already. This is looking for the Pharah. Nice direct, though.
That 7 meters does technically make this over a 100-meter differential now. It's actually pretty significant. There's a lot to have to look at here. An Energy Shock using so many ultimates in that last engagement, still just to stabilize.
This is it. This is the playbook right here from Toronto Defiant. Nano Barrage or just Nano Sugar Free into the backline, and you're blown to smithereens. Just so good.
Back to spawn with you. They're so good. They are so good. This is a Toronto Defiant that has absolutely learned from the mistakes that they've made on this map. And now it's on Energy Shock to figure out how they're going to get back into this map with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. You have over 100 meters that you have to make up here and still only a pulse bomb to your name. Tree has to come up large with this Sojourn. Any charged railgun shot, take out this Pharah, something to get yourselves back in.
They have to deal with this Bob first. And yeah, Scissors, an unfortunate timing there on the recall. I mean, wanted to put some pressure down onto Mera, maybe even go for a stick, but was unable to find a position to do so. Someone with a quick disengage, sensed maybe something was wrong or something was coming, and Ultraviolet ripping the rush. They're going to be able to get control of the point, but they're using ultimates here just to get it back towards their own checkpoint. And there's the barrage from Sugar Free. Kellen once again in the front line, dominated. Although with Tree picking up 2 kills, a sound barrier from Rack Attack as well. This will be the fight that they're going to have to win. No more kills can be afforded as Tree just dominates with the railgun. That's a confidence builder for NRG as they find a team kill.
All right, well, now let's see them do that 3 more times. They've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to do that, and that's going to be how they keep themselves in this map and take it. this was their map choice, so you know that they're feeling pretty confident about being able to deliver a lethal blow to this Toronto team here. But that was 2 ultimates. You needed a sound barrier and also the overclock to get that done. So Scissors has got to come up big with this pulse.
Well, looking to pressure down someone to begin with. Support ultimate is available Toronto, and there you go. Playbook activated. Sugar Free is in. These fire rockets, they hurt. Nice 2-tap on Rack, a 2-tap on Tree, and that was it. NRG Shock just wiped. And a team kill at 119 meters, still very firmly in the lead. And what a shocker. What do they have to do to come back from this? Because this is all that Defiant are going to do here. They're going to nano Sugar Free in. Next fight, they're going to use Barrage. Then they're going to use nano, then the Barrage, then the nano, then the Barrage. Beat where required.
And it's tricky. You can't use the beat to soak up that damage, and I think even Kellen can't fault him either for sometimes getting surprised at the amount of damage that he's taken. From all of that splash, he's already half. He has to chill and let Ultraviolet heal him back up before he's able to think about even aggressing onto this team. They're just at a standstill, trying to figure out who to jump.
They're in again. Sound barrier comes through from Vega. Now's the time to pop it. Shrew on the rush. Kellen put to sleep briefly, and Sugar Free finally down. Slain by Scissors' pulse bomb. 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. And Kellen's pushed out, pushed away from his team. Even with that bubble, with that little added protection there. I mean, this is Toronto Defiant still winning this fight. Mary gets killed by Tree, but again, they need a clean team fight here to get this bot going.
Well, here's one. They're going to be able to string it together after being able to deal with someone that's going to be a little bit more meterage on the board as they are able to taxi back Kellen. Rack Attack doing the good old overtime job there with the Lucio. But you still have so many more fights ahead of you with 1 minute and 15. We're going to be entering into overtime if NRG Shock want to get this done. 2 more clean, decisive team fights here are necessary for them to be able to tie it up. They are going to not even get the checkpoint either, as you see the D.Va pressure.
Nano Barrage and the kills just keep on coming for Sugar Free. There's nothing that stops his Farah. Oh, nice little 182. Yes. He knows what he's done. He knows how much devastation he causes and what a trouble NRG Shock having. And there you go. Kellen over to the D.Va.
But it's so late.
30 seconds to go, Rose.
It is so
30
late.
seconds.
Yeah, maybe you're able to help with just a little bit of this rocket spam, but you would have wanted to see this pick come out ages ago if you felt like that was going to be your way through this map. So desperation for sure as you look at Sugar Free, still 50% away from another barrage. He just used it. That is crazy.
My guy looking like Jimmu out here.
He's going to have another one potentially.
Oh, here's the pulse bomb from Scissors. Sound barrier comes in for Rack Attack, hits 5. Pulse bomb on the floor, still does a little bit of damage, but no kills initially here for Scissors. It's actually Kellen that comes up big with the single one to start us off with. Overtime approaching as the self-destruct launch, but Toronto Defiant have stolen the bot here. They do manage to get to the point in time. Scissors with his last final blink, but someone is still killing, and guess who's alive? It's RuPaul healing up someone in the front line. Scissors forced to recall, and someone's still got control of his mech. Kellen's going to get chased out. Not enough healing can come through on the mech, and well, Tree might be able to do some damage if he can even get back in time. An overclock used, but someone still needs to touch. It will be Scissors juggling the bot for the time, but they cannot blink or they will lose this map.
Almost there.
Oh, it's going to be so close, and it's going to be very difficult. You've got Sugar Free. That's going to be basically back with
Tree
a
finds one, Sugar Free down, but someone of merit is just going to take over. They got firm control of the bot, forcing the recall onto Scissors. He's done enough, but he can't quite get it done. A nano to finish it, and Toronto demolish NRG Shock on Runaasapi.
Well, they dealt with the one threat. I mean, we were going to potentially see a fire barrage end at all. Not able to build up to that, but you still had the nano onto the D.Va. It was just so tough. No matter what, it felt like you were always running into a nano or a barrage, and the D.Va swap unfortunately coming in a little too late. And even then, I don't know if it would have been enough by itself.
It was 30 seconds to go. Then, yeah, Kellen made that swap. The nano or the barrage or both. That was it. If you just look at the highlights from that map, that was it. It was just Sugar Free that entire game, and he knew it too. They don't want to go down to NRG Shock again. They know in their heart of hearts, right, that they've been the best of North America for a long time. And they also want to go to Stockholm and prove that North American Overwatch can stand up against EU and Korea too, because thinking back to Toronto Defiant's performance at Dallas, not pretty at all. Ended up going down to Ents in the very end, and it wasn't a fantastic showing. It wasn't a fantastic showing for Western teams, to be fair, as well, as both Crazy Raccoon and Falcons didn't even drop a single map to them. But this is the Toronto Defiant we expected to spring back into this one. NRG Shock's map pick on Runaasapi. They go down. They get another chance. It is first to 4, though. So we're not in reverse sweep territory just yet, Rose, but we'll get there.
No. Yeah, we could potentially still get there. If we see Toronto take this next map, then, you know, buckle up. We might be in for a 7-map series if we want to see NRG Shock get the reverse sweep again. We're here for the cinema, that is for sure. And the cinema right now is certainly sugar-free, putting in all of that work on the Pharah. The map's stats show you just how much that Pharah was doing. The deaths were coming through thick and fast.
Yeah, it was just permanently everybody looking up to the sky and making sure. Where is Sugar Free again? Okay, has he got Nano yet? Okay, he's definitely got Barrage though. And then Kellen, a lot of the time, kind of jumping forward, being proactive, wanting to make plays. But then met by Sugar Free's Barrage, and then it all comes tumbling down like your first time playing Jenga. Map pool on your screens. Again, NRG Shock's chance to pick. They're probably not going to choose a map where someone or the rest of Toronto Defiant want to choose dive. So we've got Flashpoint, Hybrid, and Escort. Rose, where are you thinking?
Well, yesterday we ended up seeing, well, I don't know if they would play Shambali again, not after they got fuller held on that map, but maybe you could still pull out the Blizzard World or the Saravasa. I don't think that Kellen should feel too shy to still play the Winston dive. It worked out yesterday, winning out on Blizzard World. But you could also still consider maybe even just going to, okay, I lied, they want to run it back.
They want to run it back.
They want to run it back. You know what? Cojones.
Yeah, they got a lot of them in this lobby. And look, you got to have pure confidence in yourself. Faith in oneself is a very, very powerful thing. And NRG Shock, they got a whole lot of that. Toronto Defiant currently up 2 maps as we see some subs coming in. PGE, Attack, and Cal in for NRG Shock.
Okay, so double flex support backline with Ultraviolet and Cal. You can play the Alari and the Ana, no problem. And when you take a look at the rest of the lineup and how that gets filled out, you got Mei, Ashe, and Diva was the 3 heroes that the rest of them played for Shambali. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, maybe you don't really want to play the main tank tool anymore, but you can certainly bring an attack and give him the Diva.
Yeah, double flex support too. Alari's very good on this map, and then PGE can just do PGE things. Just play Widowmaker, play the Ashe, long-range hit scan. It's the name of the game when they get subbed in. As we jump into Shambali Monastery in just a moment. We'll see if Toronto can also answer that, because when we saw that matchup the other day, you know, the hit scans, the Merit versus PGE, on the Widowmaker Ashe, what have you, it was fairly even. But PGE, a lot of the times recently too, she's been killing a whole lot of Traces. Doomed suffering a lot.
Poor Doomed.
Yeah, that was a really tough game for a lot of Traces. And we'll see if PGE can kind of light the stage up here, because we are currently right now Toronto up 2 maps. Although they need, you know, they need a couple more to actually secure the series, it is still slowly slipping through NRG Shock's hands.
Yeah, but I think if you don't get it done here, then I think you have to really evaluate whether or not you can actually do it for the rest of the series. Like, you pick this map because you know you want to be able to bring in PGE, set him up for success. Your pick is this or Dorado if you really want to give PGE great sightlines. And if you don't want to run the Winston, then Shambali Monastery still makes a really great choice. And again, you have to have a lot of confidence to pick this again, knowing what just happened. And it's possible to rewrite that history, not get fuller health this time.
Hey, the fuller holds have been kind of crazy, and the fuller holds are not. We very rarely see crazy holds like that. And it's been honestly a little bit of a gift to see 2 of them over the last couple of days. We'll see if history does repeat itself. We're going to jump to a quick break, just give the players a quick minute to run to the bathroom, get some water. You should do the same. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Familams. We're jumping into NRG Shock's Map pick once again, Shambali Monastery Rose versus Toronto Defiant. Toronto up 2 maps already. You said to me during that small break there that a little bit surprised to see NRG Shock pick this map, considering what happened in their series yesterday with that fuller hold.
Yeah, but I think it's still, like, you still have to give so much credit to NRG Shock to even getting to that point. I was like going back and forth by myself of, yeah, okay, they have to have a ton of confidence to pick this again, and they still got a full hold themselves on this first point. It's possible. And especially when you bring Cal into this roster to play the Alari, I think the backline just surviving through this, you know, attack is going to have you as well to be able to play the diva, and then PGE, like, that's the star of the show, I think, right now for why you would pick this map. They made it very competitive. It was so close at the end of the day. So gotta make Toronto sweat.
That was a nice little pylon spot from Cal there. I will be taking that one. That's very, very nasty one to kind of deal with if you're on the attack. Yeah, PGE versus Merit on the hit scan duel. It's the Ash versus Ash, no Widowmakers here. Don't want to be that greedy. And someone jumping out on the Zarya too. So trying to make Attack's life a little bit more difficult. And Sugar Free's a lot easier on the Genji.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, those Zarya bubbles going to soak up a lot of that damage, going to make it easier for someone Zarya to mow down attack.
What a kill. Good dash away by Sugar Free. Hiding under the safety of the lamp there. It's a D-Mech onto attack. Yeah, you just get chased away. Honestly, not even near the point. You might as well just not even kill him. All right. Are we going to see the full hold, Rose? Question yet to be answered, but the bot is moving for Toronto Defiant.
Well, it's not looking over just yet. Like, you still have some time here for NRG Shock to get another defense. That's why you have that closer hold, so you know that you have a second chance to touch. But it's like already an amplification matrix for RuPaul that is going to be opening up this next fight. As someone still has 70 energy, you can't eat that if you're a diva. That goes right through your defense matrix.
Nice bubble again. Just a perma-bubbling Sugar Free right now. Window on the point. Beautiful nade launched from downtown from Ultraviolet as the Nano is also thrown in. Ultraviolet was using everything to try and help Attack win this fight. And unfortunately, quickly demegged. 100 energy on someone. These right clicks are going to hurt more than if you jump directly into the sun. Toronto Defiant are going to capture that first point. 4 minutes and 45 seconds in the time.
No full hold on the table anymore, and that is a lot of time to get into the second point with. And so with just the amplification matrix used, look at what else Toronto have for this second point. Sound barrier already is huge. To deal with something like the Blizzard from Tree, that's really going to be the next big impact ultimate here from Shock if you're able to get this set up.
Blade.
But Sugar Free also has the Blade. Yeah, how do you answer that?
No defensive ultimate for NRG Shock. Maybe throughout the Blizzard, but yeah, it's a tricky one. It's going to be a tough ask. Blade has been pulled straight to the back line. Yeah, the Blizzard does come through, but Sugar Free dash slice out of there. Instantly runs away. Someone knocked off by that bot briefly, and here comes the capture sun from Cal in the back line. It does land a connection, but that beat from Vega is going to help Toronto Defiant survive that incoming damage. Oh, Cal. Not sure they're going to switch off of this Alari, but Attack is definitely switching up here. There we go. Over to the Ramatra.
Oh, everything is switching.
Yeah, NRG Shock just siding against their comp. It's actually Cal on the Lucio. A good grab in the front line. Someone getting 100 energy and a free second point take. Energy Shock, they thought they had a touch, but someone shut the door and locked it behind them.
Ooh, you know, Cal on Lucio is not a hero that we typically see them play, and so that's where I feel like, you know, things are maybe getting just a little bit hairy. That's a little more like it. Cal actually going to be going over to the Zenyatta. Definitely known for like these Zenyatta and the Alari as a part of this roster, and just also their time in the Overwatch League. So Zenyatta can help to maybe snipe somebody out here. Or at least put a little bit of a tag marker there onto Sugar Free's Genji as PGE stepping out of the plate with a Widowmaker. We'll see if Merit goes to switch if Endigib's getting sent back to spawn.
Don't want to test him. Do not test my boy PGE. All right, good Bionade 2. Merit and RuPaul lining up like a Christmas tree. 4 minutes to go. Sugar Free takes a small off angle here. It's going to be hard for Attack to hold in that corner, especially with the space Toronto have. Oh, he's going to aggro jump too. Body shot onto the Genji. Forces the Genji blade, or the deflect even.
But now you can time that really well, because that's the one cooldown you're super worried about as the Widowmaker, is where is that deflect?
Oh, Attack falls prey to the window, and now PG is going to get run at. Oh, easy resets there for Sugar Free with the help of Merit. There's 3 and a bit minutes to go. Tree does end up sniping Sugar Free. In fact, comes out with 2 large kills. A speed boost from Cow is jumped over to the Lucio to try and get Attack onto the points. Cow does manage to get the touch there, but quickly dealt with by RuPaul, who's got a nice viewing angle of everybody jumping on it. That's going to be the point cap to Toronto Defiant. 3 minutes on Shambali Monastery is a sight to behold.
After what we saw yesterday, absolutely. And now we're going to be switching sides, and can Toronto just make a statement? It would be huge if Toronto captures all 3 points with that much time and then gets a full hold here.
Anything can happen on Shambali Monastery. That is what I've learned.
That is true.
I've learned my lesson. Right, let's still quite NRG shot want to come out on the attack with. Again, I can't imagine PG maybe just jumps for the Widow and then switches back to the Ashe. It was just someone Zarya that Toronto Defiant ended up running over Attack with. Attack didn't really have any big, like, ultimate plays at all. Like, the D.Va got rolled by the Zarya and then switched over to the Ramatra, and then the Ramatra didn't really find too much. It was kind of his team falling around him and then him not being able to follow up even on some of these nades. Looks like they're looking to go to the Zarya first, but it's Toronto with Sugar Free back on the Pharah and then Merit on the Ashe. So they're just going to play like they do on Colosseo, or sorry, Runaasapi. A little bit slower though. There's no Lucio, of course.
It's a little bit slower, but it's also a backline that you know is sort of set up for the D.Va dive. If that is something that comes out from Attack. They see the Pharah though, and you know Energy Shock have to respond to this. It's going to be instantly switching up the composition to go to the Illari BAP, Ultraviolet on the BAP, and then the D.Va from Attack. You know that this D.Va is going to be a lot better versus this Pharah, something we were hoping to see in Runaasapi, but Attack can totally bring that to the table for this.
Yeah, like a 2-pronged attack, literally with Attack, but oh dear. The Attack, maybe a couple of seconds too late on the Matrix. Sugar Free just poking out PG and just snipes him with a couple of rockets. It's a really annoying point to push as well against the Pharah because of how, like, the roofs are sloped and you have to peek around to try and get a shot on the Pharah, and these small corridors are so nice to just fire rockets into. A different style of push here from NRG Shock. Still see these rockets raining death from above. Sugar Free just hiding this bubble too. Nanti will follow it up. That is one dead NRG Shock. And they're even going to stagger Attack.
The stagger. No, Attack has been so unlucky being on the receiving end of so many of these major stalls. Like, even gets back in the mech and gets demexed again. Gonna get staggered again.
I will not bring up his name.
Ouch, ouch.
You know who I'm talking about. The staggers are too real. It still pains me. And Ultraviolet, oh, good sleep. Any kills, any damage? Okay, Ultraviolet ducks back into spawn, and someone ends up getting punished.
She's gonna blow.
Little over eager there.
You.
So you're gonna have to wait for someone to. Oh, PGE actually opens us up pretty big here with a big headshot onto Merit. So despite the fact that someone has actually been able to get back out of spawn for another recontest, you still have to wait for Merit to be back in this as well. Nano boost from RuPaul though, that can help to stabilize the defense to allow for Merit to come back.
Yeah, someone's back in the action. They got Nano, they got Barrage, they got the combo. They just want to let one go.
Oh, no.
Someone's in the corner. RuPaul with the nade on the back. Cal in trouble. 1 HP, easily cleaned up. Primal Rage from someone. There to follow up on the aggressive positioning from RuPaul. Stack still manages to find 2 though. I mean, without the nano boost as well. Both DPS are dead, but someone is going to be able to kill Attack before they can find the remake.
Card's gonna stop there for now. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. As you look at Shock having thrown Only the Diva Bomb at this. They still have 4 ults that they can work with. The Bob, really important to just get an extra attack angle here onto the defense. But this Nano Barrage from Toronto, they can still let this loose.
Good Bob onto Vega. Nano boost from someone too. A sleep on Sugar Free mid barrage, and Ultraviolet finishes up with a kill. Looks like someone is trying to pay attention to the backline, but PG kiting backwards slightly. Same with attack to deal with someone's aggression. That's a really good ultimate too from Cal. Double detonation, no, just a singular one onto RuPaul, and that'll be good for the point. NRG Shock, not quite in overtime either. I'm gonna get 3 and a bit minutes to push at this cave phase now. The second point.
Yeah, it's still a really good amount of time in the bank. It took them a little bit to finally get things going, and I think looking at a couple of the overextensions from Toronto definitely helped them out to make sure that they could stagger a lot of their ultimates so that they weren't being easily negated by the team. But you still have this pulse bomb here from Tree. That's something that you could throw with things. And we are going to see the Pharaoh out of Sugar Free's hands, going over to the Tracer himself, just to be able to match that on Tree's side.
All right, there's the engagement from someone. Isolating himself a little bit there, actually gets anti-naded too. Again, someone overextending somewhat, not respecting Ultraviolet's nades. There's NRG Shock just going to run over Toronto Defiant, pushing towards this second point. Didn't need to use ults either, so Tree can set up for a big pulse bomb. And Toronto Defiant, ideally don't want to lose anybody here. This payload is fast approaching this point.
You've got the Primal Rage from someone if you can get it online in a couple of seconds. But the fact that you have the Nano from Ultraviolet already, that's onto attack. Your backline is exposed.
Yes, indeed. Someone is still in there. There's the Primal Rage. Oh, another good sleep from Ultraviolet. And hiding on that pylon as well. That Mini doing a lot of heavy lifting for the backline there of NRG Shock. Eventually, Ultraviolet is cleaned up. Someone's Primal Rage is kind of winning against attacks. Aggressive Nano Diva push in the end. With a minute and 40 seconds to go, Toronto Defiant are in a good spot. They've got Rally, they've got Nano, they've got Pulse and Bob. And they've only got to deal with the Bob from PG and the Cal Alario. I mean, this Captive Sun, it's decent, but it's actually going to get even harder to use now as someone's jumped over to Zara. You could just bubble those targets that are affected by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Cal's waiting to go in.
I mean, that's one way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you... Oh, look at the flank coming through for the Captive Sun.
Captive Sun launched straight at the back. Oh, it didn't hit anybody. It looked like Merriman should get out of there with a coach gun, and now Cal's in a sticky spot. The pylon has gone down, and someone with 100 energy and the Nano boost, but they're still able to kill him. Vega's Rally, there's a bit of overhead there for RuPaul, but a good sleep will put him out of position. And it's actually NRG Shock in an old deficit. Managed to cap the point.
Wow, okay, so the Zarya pick, maybe not really the right thing to be able to deal with the Captive Sun, but you have Toronto Defiant making just a couple extra swaps here. Still 2 minutes on the clock. It's going to be almost a full team change. You have Sugar Free going over to the Genji. It's going to be the Zarya Lucio Baptiste, exactly what we saw on Toronto's defense. They're just going to be bringing it back out here. Or sorry, on their attack, bringing it out for the defense.
Yeah, just bubble Sugar Free, get him in, get him out. Good kill from Merritt. Takes down PG. Just get a bit more free ult charge onto someone. Really, really passive with the bubbles. Yeah, just only putting them on Sugar Free. Pure team player.
Kind of all they're there for.
Right.
Well, because the 2 minutes that you have left is plenty to be able to get a Dragon Blade online. 1 minute and 30 now as we look at NRG Shock making another approach here. 3 ults to their name.
Oh, good shot from PG.
Oh, PG.
Vega pushed into that small room by attack. The Graviton Surge is good. PG, he sees someone pretty low, but I think the fight's already over. Deflection onto the Genji. Someone does end up going down as the Nano once again. From Ultraviolet is going to secure a couple of kills and somehow attacking PG, keeping this fight going. It's only the Genji in the backline eventually goes down. End up trading kills. Spawn position available here from Toronto Defiant, so they are about to regroup, but Shock, their spawns are equally as close as they now approach this final corner.
And that was after using the Graviton Surge there. Bob from Merit is going to be one of the next things up in RuPaul's Amplification Matrix, hoping to get that online here for Toronto's defense. But this is final fight on this map. If we do not see Shock win here and extend it out to an extra round.
Good nade on the front line. Sugar Free in a little bit of trouble. The Captive Sun does manage to land the high ground, but the Lamb doing Lord's work there from RuPaul. That Pulsum going a little bit wide. Sugarfree following that up with the kill onto Tree. Someone might not be high energy, but he's just aiding in someone, Sugarfree, getting these kills. That Bob disaster has struck NRG Shock as the Bob just split them up. There's 10 seconds to go, and Sugarfree's just going to touch that spawn door. Tree is going to jump onto the Tracer to try and get a touch, but are they going to even be able to do so? I don't think so. Vega just chased them down. A sound barrier, a blade. They've got everything in the tank to use. Toronto Defiant hold there on 3rd point and find themselves in a winning spot. A 3-0 in the series thus far. And we know what happens when we go to a match point situation. There is a chance for NRG Shock to come back, but Toronto, they've leveled up time and time again, and here is no exception.
I mean, you heard Kasaurus maybe just delivering a 4-0 on a silver platter as a bit of sweet revenge to this NRG Shock team that sent them down to the lower bracket. They're very prepped, they're very worn. You know, there are so many bright minds on the Toronto Defiant team that have helped to work out some of those maybe kinks and issues. And I'd say they are pretty ironed out there for Shambali.
They've done their homework. It's a 3-0 for Toronto. Let's have a look at what the desk have to say, because it is all looking red right now. No orange in sight.
It is indeed. I mean, yeah, Shambali Monastery felt like this was the moment where NRG Shock started to really push it. Maybe some of that advantage on that map was also due to an overextension here and there from the likes of some really sick nades being hit from UB, taking advantage of those overextensions. But overall, this was Toronto Defiant's game. They came into this prepared, no more kings, nothing to iron out. They had an answer to literally everything NRG Shock tried out.
Well, I think what we're seeing here, you got to give a lot of credit to Kasaurus and Danny, the coaching staff of Toronto Defiant, because in every place that they showed weakness in previous series, today it's been strength to strength. I mean, just they've adapted perfectly. Anywhere they were previously had problems with the comp, they've come out with a new look, and it's been fantastic. So the adjustments paying off perfectly. NRG is running with what worked for them last time, which it's hard to fault them for, but at the same time, this is what I was worried about for Toronto, right? You give them that time to cook in the lab, and, you know, like the many-headed Hydra of Myth, they just come back stronger. You cut off one head, and two are growing back in its place, and that's the threat I'm feeling from Toronto Defiant right now. Not only do these players step up to the plate big time when their backs are against the wall facing elimination, but also give them time to cook strategy, and they're just going to come back stronger, more threatening answers to any possible question you could pose to them.
Yeah, both on Runaasapi, of course, you come out with a Diva, and there's so much pressure being put on by the Ashe and the Pharah, and you do a great job of disengaging from Tree's overclocks and also the Kitsune rushes from Ultraviolet. So whenever you feel like, oh, NRG Shock, they have some momentum, you disengage, and then you re-engage, you threaten with a solo barrage onto Kellen whenever he extends himself, and then again, the Zarya Genji composition here to really punish a pretty greedy backline from NRG Shock, allow Sugarfree to cook with those Zarya bubbles. It's really smart from the Toronto Defiant. Great compositions, they adapted accordingly. And look, Zoe, this is about as Jober as it was yesterday.
Then again, I mean, NRG reverse swept before, but I will say that series felt a lot closer even down 2-0 than this one does. And for me, what's crazy is that these are what I would consider someone's weakest tanks, right? You know, as much as he does play everything, I would say he's best on the main tanks. That's where his like real strength, you know, stuff like Winston, you know he's one of the best in the world. But stuff like Zarya, Diva, Sigma, he's solid, but those aren't comfort picks for him. Today, they're bringing someone out, they're pushing him out of his comfort zone, but it doesn't look like that's an issue, right? Like the tanks that he's supposedly weaker on, the whole team fills in perfectly around him, and the coordination is what's getting these wins more so than one individual player needing to carry. Toronto's just outstratting them.
Yeah, not just outstratting, it's also just the individual performances today are on point. No one seems to be slacking. You have a particular highlight reel prepared here for none other than someone who has been on fire throughout the series.
Yeah, especially on Busan, I think that someone's Winston was so crucial. I mean, starting things off here on Sanctuary, just the way that he kind of cuts off this very like high tempo composition. So whenever NRG Shock, they do go in with the Lucio Kiriko composition, with Tree, for example, someone cuts that off. He gets so much cleave damage done while they're trying to push this backline off the Illari, off the Ana, and then the Primal Rages as well. You can already see he's on top of Ultraviolet already. And he's so effective in these situations when the enemy team is trying to push the tempo and make a rotation or trying to get in position to punish the Toronto backline. Someone is is so good at positioning himself to get so much damage onto the backline of that opposing team. I think that here on Busan downtown, they might very well be the best team in the world because they're set up there with the Ashe, Brig, and Ana. It is so effective, and you always see Sugar Free come in from the side and hit the backline with someone on that Winston. They're so good at that Busan map, and that's why they picked it.
I mean, Nightmare won Sanctuary, right, with that Sojourn comp. NRG thought, hey, we can make that work too. We're good at that comp. But, I mean, it looks like Toronto, they downloaded that map. They said, what was the issue? Someone's going to play in a defensive style now. Okay, easy peasy. We solved it, and we look like an unbeatable team once again. Toronto Defiant, you got to put some respect on the name, how quickly they can come back from a loss.
Yeah, speaking of a comeback, NRG Shock has to make something happen. They picked Paraíso, Kellen is subbed in, so we will be seeing some Winston play. Will it be enough to go up against the Winston himself, someone? Well, we find out in just a little bit. It's either Toronto Defiant finishing it out right here, right now, or the comeback from NRG Shock will start now.
Say it with me. Reverse sweep starts here. NRG Shock. They're one map away from losing this series here in the finals of Stage 3 North American OWCS. Toronto Defiant looking also clean. And yeah, Johnny's right. I mean, look, someone's Winston. Yeah, it gets down. It looks good. And this is the perfect map for it too. Going to a dive map. Seeing Kellen come back in. Tree, Scissors, Ultraviolet, and Rack Attack. So the other squad that is not double flex playing the long range hit scan. They're going to maybe try and counter dive here, Toronto Defiant. But it's been very hard thus far, Rose.
It has been very challenging. Even in their last series yesterday, it looked a little bit easier. But as Edes was saying, this coaching staff, they fixed it. Whatever issues there were before do not seem to be there today. Toronto very much playing together as a full team, which means that there are really no weaknesses to exploit. We've got NRG Shock on the defense, going to have this Pharah Winston comp with the Ashe, just kind of what has been dished out to them before, but Toronto very confident to be able to run the Solari Ana double flex support dive on the attack.
NRG Shock maintaining control of this high ground is going to be good for them. Oh, a boop onto Kellen. I think that was they either booped his head there, or potentially an outburst coming through from Vega to stop Kellen from jumping up and rejoining the team on his high ground. Also running under a lot of stress and pressure though as Sugar Free and someone end up cleaning up this high ground. Okay, they eventually get it going. 3 minutes for Toronto Defiant. Only it took a minute there to collapse on NRG Shock. Yeah, Kellen not being able to make it to high ground, that was the nail in the coffin for them.
Not great. That's going to be the first point going over to Toronto. You can see NRG Shock, to Toronto. You're going to see NRG Shock just totally give it up. Try to go back into the streets phase, gets it up on this high ground. But Sugar Free is already pushing the objective. You've got them hunting down Scissors on this Tracer. And if you can take even anybody down here, Kellen's actually stuck now in the Winston bubble. Half HP.
Back out. They're losing control of this high ground pretty quickly.
And no one's pushing though. Okay, all good.
And Vega and Alari in general is like the perfect payload princess hero. You just throw a pylon either on the near the payload or off on a slight angle there. Your team can kind of chill and vibe close to it. Then you just start shooting people from downtown. It's perfect. My perfect character, honestly. NRG Shock. They've got nano boost. They can send Kellen in onto the front line, but someone's already guarding the payload. This dive is coming in just a moment. It's RuPaul and Vega. They got ults too. Captive Sun does connect. Rack Attack under a lot of pressure right now. There's the detonation. It's actually Tree that ends up going down as a nano boost applied to Rack Attack to keep them in this fight. But a pulse bomb connection from Sugar Free. That'll turn this one around. As NRG Shock failed, and well, Toronto Defiant now pushing around this corner just at a blitzing pace. We're looking at a Flintstones car versus a twin turbo GTR level game right here. As Toronto Defiant just setting records almost, it feels like.
I mean, they're touching the spawn doors. Someone has Primal. He's just going to go ahead and pop it. Tree is dead. That's
no
point.
touch. No touch whatsoever. And a one-way ticket back to spawn for you, Ultraviolet. Gonna be a free ult charge, I suppose, for attacking someone, but look at him go. He is still going.
Either. Ooh, Scissors lands the pulse onto Merit, but it just is not gonna stop this train. You get paired out of spawn pretty quickly here. Payload still gets to move forward with your payload princess, as you call it. And then the nano from RuPaul just gets to extend this lead that someone is getting in the front line. NRG Shock, they haven't been able to find any value with these ults. They gotta dig their heels in now, or they're about to just get speedrun.
There's the nano boost into the back line. Rally deployed. It's going to be hard for someone to get most damage in now, and he knows it. Ends up backing up. One ultimate forced for another. Trade the rally for the nano. Vega's going to have this captive sun in 15 seconds though, Rose.
Yeah, like that's a very high value ult to get out with the rally.
Oh my god, look at how close he is to dying too. Raxac lucky to escape there with his life. You see Kellen now popping the Primal Rage, going back to the second point, but he's just taking so much damage. Still though, with this high ground advantage from NRG Shock, Ultraviolet, Tree, they have such good sight lines to that choke point. 4 minutes to go. Still a lot of time in the bank and a captive sun in hand. You have to block this if you're Rakta, otherwise you're dead. Your team is going to die.
Yes. You absolutely do, and I feel like Kellen should be sort of looking out for it as well.
Yeah, blocking it with a bubble would be perfect. Nano boost actually though, into the back line, looking at RuPaul. They're going to chase Merit out as well, but asleep on a sliver of HP. And Kellen is not going to get out of there for free. Vega does end up going down in the trade, but I think you take that any day of the week if you're Toronto Defiant, because they can now force the issue by jumping to the back line. And guess who's got Primal Rage again? Oh, it's somebody. And Tree is history. Oh, there's the Primal ripped from someone, and this payload is still moving at a blistering pace, and they can keep in this fight, Rose. Toronto Defiant have 2 support ultimates left.
Oh, someone's asleep at the door, but you're right.
They're forcing recalls too.
Gonna have to get out of there before getting anti-nade. Mare's already killed Scissors.
Okay, here come the reinforcements. Captive Sun goes a little bit wide. Vega uses that ultimate to get to the high ground, but Merit's bomb, and just Merit alone, dominating on the points. As Toronto Defiant are here to make a statement with a 2 minute and 50-second time bank.
Score.
I am worried for NRG Shock on this attack.
It is not looking good. A little bleak, if I like to put it into a sentence.
I want the Hopium so bad. I want a close series so bad. But if you're going to allow Toronto to play the same type of comp that we saw in Busan downtown, the Ashe, Tracer, Winston on the defense, I'm worried about seeing NRG Shock make it past that first point.
Toronto Defiant jumping over to the Yari again. Not fearing the dive. A lot more defensive when you have that brig. You're trading full defensive capabilities to offensive, just completely different spec tree and more talent tree. And with Toronto Defiant, how someone is just being able to not only force ults, but his just presence as well. And it does very much remind me of that Busan game yesterday. How it was someone just constantly in the backline, just pressuring, forcing out CDs, popping the bubble down to break LOS of the healers, and then ripping Primal. Oh, don't worry, we've got Nano, and he's just omnipresent on the map.
He is just everywhere, doing everything all at once.
Oh my.
Oh, no way.
The nade into the dynamite. All good though, we got the Mercy res. Mercy mains in chat going crazy with that one. Seeing Mercy played here for half a second.
Oh my god, it's like seeing it come out from UMEA OWCS. We saw
So Astro playing a
Mercy
funny
Farah.
Astro.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what era are we in?
All right, Trees jumping over to Echo. Going very hardcore on the dive angle, but wow, Scissors already dead. And same with Tree. A different tempo. A different tempo entirely.
This is confidence. This is Toronto Defiant playing with full-blown confidence. They trust each other, they understand the objective, and they are delivering on the assignment. Sugarfree's gonna have a pulse bomb already as the first ultimate in this round. You can throw that out whenever he wants. Kellen just using the jump up is actually already forced down onto the low ground.
Sugarfree
Another setup
close to
here.
a pulse bomb already. Might pay a quick visit to Ultraviolet. Or rack.
Delivered onto Kellen.
Yeah, if Kellen makes an aggressive play, yeah. Sticking, burning. There's the nano boost. There's the outburst, though. Oh, Vega not quite making it up onto that high ground, but the support has arrived. Vega pretty low. Kellen unable to finish off that kill, and as quick as that, Sugar Free takes full advantage of the chaos that ensued and picked up a pulse bomb kill.
Oh. Not before Scissors is going to be able to take down Merit with him, but yeah, the fact you couldn't follow that up, RuPaul keeping Vega alive, someone coming in for the peel, placing that bubble down, and then, of course, yeah, Scissors getting the big pick on Ultraviolet. Kellen just didn't have enough say in that fight. Now the shoe's on the other foot, with RuPaul going to be the one that has the nano ready to get delivered. Do you nano Merit again?
I mean, honestly,
if you just get a little too
at this
close?
Point, nano anybody. It don't matter. Pulse bomb.
Nano Vega.
Okay, not Vega. Okay, not Vega. That would be too crazy.
No?
1 minute and 40 seconds to go, Rose. Now it's RuPaul. Nade lands too. Connects with Tree and rack attack. Oh, before Tree even exploded with the captive sun, he was already dead. Vega holding a very aggressive angle right now, looking for the headshot on the Tracer. And with 1 minute and 30, Kellen is out for the count. Energy shock. They got ults, but hope quickly fading.
Toronto still have 4 ults. Like, Sugar Free's gonna have another pulse bomb, which is crazy. Scissors is dead.
All right.
Minute left. This is one more fight.
Close they're playing.
They are so far forward. Well, because they have the nano, the primal. Why not? You're brimming with confidence.
Vega naded. There's the nano on the Alari. You called it, Rose. It happened. Outburst. Oh, it doesn't quite reach the high ground. And RuPaul is dead. Okay, maybe Toronto Defiant bitten off a little bit more than they can chew. Oh, a double headshot, though, onto Scissors. Salt in the runes. Someone popping the primal rage. There's 30 seconds to go. No duplicate either now for Energy Shock. As someone's going to take to the skies and take down Tree. Toronto Defiant, no ults in the bank, but they're still swinging. A quick regroup here is required, though, as they're not full of fire just yet. But with 20 seconds, NRG Shock making some desperation swaps.
Merit has gone over to the Echo and Tree over to the Widowmaker, knowing that this one pick is going to be and has to be the biggest one that they have had. Energy Shock, they're another barrel going down 0-4.
Sugar Free already taken down. Ultraviolet rack attack dead as well. Tree's going to have to come up with something magical here to come back, but it is not to be. Toronto Defiant are going to hold. They're going to be your back-to-back-to-back NA OWCS champions.
That is a statement to end this entire series on. After getting dropped down into the lower bracket by NRG Shock, handing them a reverse sweep, they were able to claw their way back here into the grand finals and show everybody just a lag in the system. Don't worry, Toronto Defiant, they still got it. They delivered a full hold. A full hold to close out the series.
It was just a blip on the radar, a small one. It was a good game versus Nightmare. Fantastic game versus NRG Shock. After that reverse sweep, they wanted revenge, and revenge they got. A clean 4-0 in the grand finals. Toronto wouldn't have it any other way, and NRG Shock fans maybe silenced a little bit there. We'll jump over to the desk. They'll round out the day and talk about how ridiculous, honestly, that game was.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Heading into the entire main event, this is exactly what I expected to happen in the NA Grand Final. We all know Toronto's going to sweep through. Yeah, there were some bumps along the road that we perhaps did not expect, but they cleaned it up. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. Kasora's already announced it prior to the match even starting. All like, yeah, you want the quick one? I give you a quick one. And that's exactly what he delivered. Ending it on a full hold. Toronto making a statement, establishing dominance. The Kings are back.
Yeah, Toronto want to reinstate that tier break. I think that's the the takeaway from this. Although I do think we got to give Nightmare their flowers for making that a competitive series earlier in the day. I think the series that we all were hoping to get would have been that NRG versus Nightmare. I think we're gonna have to maybe wait for the Face It League or for the next main event to see that matchup go down. But Toronto on top, you know, showing that in a double elimination bracket, they are terrifying, right? When they show any weakness, they address it, they resolve it, and they come back twice as strong. And that's a terrifying factor for an opponent. You know, they're just impossible to predict. You can't you can't guess what they're going to do. They can play different things in back-to-back matches, play the strat completely differently, back-to-back matches. That is so hard to prepare for as an opponent.
This was disgusting.
Yeah.
This was a disgusting Grand Finals matchup. Toronto Defiant showing the full force. And it just feels like everything leading up to this moment, I'm just like, cool. Yeah, it was great. We got a great map 5 win by NRG Shock. They got their time in the 18 hours in
Just
the
like
sun.
a bait.
And here's Toronto Defiant holding their spawn on Paraiso for 4 minutes. Great. RuPaul, player of the match. Well deserved, though. Well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, when you get on the back foot against Toronto Defiant, I feel RuPaul really gets to shine, right? When he's free to just use those honest skills aggressively, he is merciless with the nades, with the sleeps, the nanos. Everything perfect from one of the most stable flex support players I think we have in the game right now. Just incredibly consistent. Everything you want. The Ana, immaculate. What I think maybe that for me this isn't even his best hero, right? Like I think he's even better on things like the Batiste. But when his Ana's like this, it's hard to say what's really the scariest hero he could pull out of the server.
Yeah, I can't even remember him ever having an off game. Like it's never been a finger pointing at RuPaul. He's just always held his own. He's always gotten the job done. Like he's always went above and beyond for his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Special shout out to someone as well. You know, someone I tried for the tank bias, I tried for the match, but you know, there were several candidates here. I mean, it was a 4-0 stomp. Everyone played exceedingly well, but this time around it's RuPaul.
Yeah, we actually have our player of the match joining us for a winner's interview as well. So let's hear it from the man himself, RuPaul, joining us. Congratulations. Dominance established once again. What is up,
So
RuPaul?
chill. So chill.
What is up? Talk to us. What was the vibe check heading into today's rematch?
Okay, honestly, I woke up like I almost forgot that we lost yesterday, and I was like, oh wait, we have to play 2 matches. And I was like, oh okay. And I do think I was like thinking a lot about the NRG match. So then we went into Nightmare and had a really close, like really fun match. I think that was like the most fun match I've had since like EWC. Even in like scrims, like it's been like pretty easy for us, and we haven't really been challenged at all. So it was fun playing those 2 map 5s. And then going into the grand finals, I mean, we were really confident, but I didn't think it was going to be that easy. So we just kind of coasted along.
So what went wrong yesterday then? You know, you went to map 5 against NRG Shock, and like you were up 2-0, but it was a pretty shocking reverse sweep, you know, like losing that lead. So like what ended up happening in that matchup, you think, lessons you took with you into today against the rematch?
I think like that team's like playstyle NRG, they're not really good at pushing. They're really good at like playing back and like baiting. And I think one of the things we did wrong was we didn't shoot their tank a lot. So in the previous match, the map 5 against NRG, like Kellen was really free. And because of that, we were just like perma-dead, like on cooldown. But this match, he actually couldn't do anything. Like I was free like the whole match. It felt pretty easy.
Yeah, it looked like that. You know, RuPaul, you guys have been on top of NA for quite a while now, pretty much the whole year here in OWCS, it's fair to say. But, you know, I think it is also, we got to give credit to teams like NRG and Nightmare for pushing you guys. What has it been like to see this, for you guys, this is, I mean, I know you're still the champion in such a dominant grand finals, but to see maybe some competition rising up in NA, some of these new rosters coming together. How do you see them now? I guess looking forward to stuff like international competitions. Are you excited to see what other rosters can bring? Although, seems now to say clearly in second place to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's really fun because, I mean, before, yeah, there was just no competition. I'm not gonna lie, yesterday was the first day that our team reviewed like anything. We didn't review a single scrim.
Oh my god!
Like, since EWC, we haven't done any review. We've just like done like 2 scrims a day, and that like we've been scrimming EU as well. And I'm gonna be the one to say I'm pretty sure we reached the point where NA is better than EU. That's what I'm feeling right now.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
All right.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
I mean, you can put that to the test in Stockholm. We can't wait to see that. For now, though, you remain the kings of NA in a dominant fashion as well. RuPaul, thank you so much. And once again, congrats.
Thank you.